Hello, in this video I'm going to showcase my battles from a challenge that I played last Sunday. This time it's not a vlog style, and the reason why is because I don't want to record the same people over and over and basically farm them for content. So I'm only going to do a vlog style video if there's at least 8 people at a local tournament. So this is just going to be me playing battles. This is the team that I brought. I'm flexing Buzzwole today. I got a new Great League one, and that's what I built around. I brought Registeel as one of the Pokemon to cover its weaknesses the best, which is primarily Fairy types and Azumarill, and then Feraligatr covers Fire types really well. Gligar's there more as a neutral pick, but also to cover Annihilate. Lickitung just pairs well with Buzzwole in general, and then I have my own Azumarill to cover Gligar a little bit better. Even though Feraligatr is a water type and generally beats Gligar, down energy you actually lose the 2 shield as Feraligatr. So I brought the Azumarill to cover that a little bit better and for really good neutral play. That's basically how I built this team. The reason why I have Flash Cannon, and I actually regret this in the tournament itself, because with Focus Plus you're better into like Vigoroth. But Flash Cannon can throw off players with Gligar, because it just spaces a little bit faster, can throw them off, and especially like with an energy advantage, the matchup can be really deceiving and be better for Registeel. So that's why I have that moveset here. But it also makes me entirely walled by Pokemon like Whiscash and Quagsire, but that's where Buzzwole and Feraligatr do quite well. My first opponent is the man with the plan, Dr. Statstan. He's back. He's playing our locals again. And he's got a similar team to that. Snailmon likes to run the triple fly, which I find super annoying. The Pokemon that doesn't look super good for me here is Buzzwole. The Pokemon that I do like to bring is Feraligatr. The problem is, if I don't bring Buzzwole, I don't bring a Vigoroth counter. So that doesn't really add up very well there. On top of that, his Lantern has Spark, so that makes my Azumarill even worse there. I don't mind Azumarill too much versus Water Gun Lantern, but Spark Lantern is terrible. Let's take a look at how this is going to go. Spark Lantern does significantly worse in his neutral matchups though now. This is a very neutral lead, and as a Cresselia player, I know also exactly how this is going to go as the Gligar player. So I don't win this in the Zero Shields. I'm going to catch this on Registeel. Because I want to preserve my Gligar. There's going to be Vigoroth in the back very likely, and probably his Gligar. There it is. Because if he leads Cresselia, there's no way he's going to have Skarmory, so I can preserve my Gligar. He won't have Skarmory aligned to it later. And then also Altaria is kind of iffy. I would expect... it could also be Lantern, but I don't think Lantern is that appealing to bring into a Registeel. Like if he would lose the lead with Cresselia, you don't swap Lantern in, right? I have Flash Cannon, which pays a little bit faster, and for that reason he has to throw. Here already can't overfarm too much, and I can overfarm a little bit. I'm gonna go farm with Feraligatr and not with my own Gligar. I want to preserve my Gligar, so I'm gonna shield this up. I think the energy is very valuable. If it is Vigoroth in the back, I want to get off as many Hydro Cannon as possible. He also went like really weak to my Feraligatr lead, by the way, because I have Crunch Feraligatr. It absolutely shreds Cresselia when shields are up. He shields the first attack, makes sense. Going into Cresselia right away, because Vigoroth doesn't have a great matchup into Gligar. It does win the Zero Shield, but I have a lot of energy. Dig lands, and because I already have so much wing attack damage in, I can do a little bit more. So the way this goes in the Zero Shields, your last dig will actually not knock out. But because I have so much energy, or so many wing attacks already in, and I have an energy lead because I caught a Moonblast, I can now knock this out with an Air Ace just barely. And this should be a very, very comfortable matchup now. At some point, I was thinking, should I go for 3 Aerial Ace here? But he does get 2 Body Slam before I will be able to do that. Doesn't really matter anyway. At this point, I pressure him with wing attacks as well. My Feraligatr should be able to hang on some counters and body slam. He needs to get to 100 energy. Let's see if he can do that. This body slam might barely or barely not knock out. He has to throw Rock Slide, but he also needs to preserve energy, so he can't do that. I hang on. And this area should knock out the Vigoroth. That will be a 1-0 victory for me. I think the catch was absolutely crucial here because I needed all the energy I could have there on my Gligar for later. Because that Vigoroth and both his Gligar were going to be super annoying otherwise. Game number 2, I lead Feraligatr into his Gligar. This is a good lead on even energy, but it's also a really easy catch for him because we pace equally fast. So I do expect him to catch at some point. I don't throw immediately, he does. If I let this go, he could actually shield and farm me down, which I don't like. Let's see. And I wait here, but so did he. A very good catch because he didn't even get a counter through. So at this point, this is looking terrible. If I swap Buzzwole in now, he will farm me down entirely with his Gligar, and then my energy is somewhat iffy. I think it's Cresselia in the back, and if I keep shields up, Feraligatr might just be fine there, but where do I put Buzzwole if it doesn't go on this? At this point, I wasn't exactly sure what to do. My play at this point is to farm this down, have all the energy for the backline. Even if it's Cresselia, I will have that Hydro Pump for it. It could also be Skarmory, which would be actually ideal at this point, because Buzzwole still has some good fast attack pressure there. He gets to another attack here. Actually goes for the Rock Slide, which is very smart. If you only get to one attack, both on neutral, Rock Slide does like a little bit more damage, even though it's not more efficient. See what he comes in with. In the back is Spark Land. It's Peter Sparker. Unfortunate. I don't think I'm gonna win this. I mean, if I brought Buzzwole into this into Vigoroth, I think I also would have lost, right? Because I had two water types. And Feraligatr, while I was ABA to Lantern, Feraligatr, which shoots up, actually hangs on quite well because that Spark damage nerfs, they don't do as much anymore. But yeah, I'm just gonna let this go. He thought I would have play if I throw Super Power into Gligar. I let everything go here though. Look at how much his wing attacks do. I could shield here, but he would get 2 more wing attack in and just outpace my Azumarill, which is 2 bubbles off here. So there was just no play. That is a good game. Well played. Yeah, just a little bit tough. That catch, I think, decided for him. If he didn't catch, I think I would have had it, because then I could align my Buzzwole fully on that Vigoroth and maybe do something with that energy on the Gator, because I had 2 Gligar answers. Decisive game number 3. I am sick of Vigoroth, so my strategy is to counter Vigoroth. And I'm bluffing the Buzzwole lead here. Here it is, though. It's on the right spot. He safe swaps Cresselia. I think Buzzwole's kind of the one lead he definitely didn't want to see, because this Cresselia is going to take a lunge, which does a lot of damage, plus debuffs the attack. So now I can take 2 Moonblasts here very safely, and this allows me to farm up a lot of energy. It could be a Skarmory in the back, which could be a little bit scary, though. Maybe he's playing some sort of ABB strategy against my Registeel. So let's see. Registeel leads swap is also a little bit bold, but he probably also knows I can't really lead Buzzwole with Registeel in the back against a potential Gligar from him. I think I could have done 1 more wing attack here because I wasn't capped at 100 energy. Because my goal at this point is to get to 2 attacks on that Vigoroth, threaten it as much as possible. The problem is, if it gets like a farm down, Buzzwole's fragile. It's like it has like a higher attack than Traveler. He tries to catch, but I was like farming up till the very end to see if I could make it to 1 dig or 2 Aerial Ace. The answer was one dig, but he swapped a little bit too early, and then I saw I could just throw Aerial Ace, so I just reacted just in time. Now I have Azumarill with a shield advantage, and this is looking very uphill for Statistan. I mean, I had kind of all the answers for his team, but also the Vigoroth just had nowhere to go, right? Basically, the idea was always, if I swap out of my matchup, he would never bring Gligar, or sorry, Vigoroth into my safe switch, right? Into my Gligar or in my Azumarill. And at this point, Buzzwole just flexing here. You don't see this Pokemon too often, but it's going to punch down a Vigoroth today. I'm very happy that I could make it work. It's often difficult to bring the Spice Pokemon, right? But this time it worked, and I win round number 1 against Statistan. My next round is against Tigo. The last time I played him, he ABA'd me very hard when I had a Gligar on my team, and he let Annihilate with Charge Bug in the back twice, and he's been teasing me with that the whole time. Buzzwole is looking okay here, but I think he will always bring Charge Bug because I only really have 1 hard check to it. I think Lickitung and Registeel are very fine into it, but Buzzwole, Gator, and Azu do so into it. However, I like Gator on the safe swap into Charge Bug, because if I land 1 Hydro, I could double shield and farm down. Let's see how this is gonna go. Garbink does not really have a lot of play into me, so I don't expect that. I actually didn't expect this either, because anything that swaps in now has to take a Hydro from my Gator, except when he safe swaps his Charge Bug and I swap in Gligar immediately. I must say, I'm not too familiar with this matchup, as weird as it sounds, but I just don't play Gligar as much. So I'm gonna go for a dig, and I think then I can farm down. But maybe the more optimal place to go Aerial Ace, and then farm down, because this is way more than I thought it would do. And I don't think they could flip this anyway, as long as I land an attack before they land 2 attacks. So maybe that was the better play. I can only get to 1 attack into that Skarmory now, probably. So that's not ideal. Skarmory gets a pretty nasty farm down. If it's Annihilate in the back, I'm kind of in trouble. I know he really likes that Annihilate. So I'm going to go for Dig, does moderate damage. Going to go hard swap into Gator, because he basically only brought out his only answer to it. Like, Lickitung doesn't even take Hydro Cannon that well. Going to go for Hydro Cannon here. This might barely not knock out, but I would expect him to shield if he wants to preserve Skarmory. No, he lets it go. So at this point, Skarmory is no threat to my Lickitung anymore. Lickitung doesn't really have a great matchup into it, but also not the worst when shields are up. In the back is a Quagsire. This is over. This is just over. Because it can't even farm down my my Gligar, so I'm gonna go for Hydro Cannon. He lets that go. He's like, yeah, this is over. I give up. I told him afterwards I have Lickitung, so it didn't matter. You would have lost that either way. So I win round number 1. This is what I mean. Sometimes it's very risky to lead weak into a Pokemon like Feraligatr or Swampert, because if you get a bad lead, they throw a Hydro, which does a lot, even resist it sometimes, and they just swap out, and you can't really do much with that. Game number 2, I expect him to troll me and play Annihilate with Charge Bug in the back, or vice versa. But no, he leads Lickitung. And this is awkward, because I'm ABB into Charge Bug. This is probably the worst lead I could face. I have to swap out at some point to try and bait it out. In fact, I'm pretty sure he has it in the back, because Charge Bug has played into both my Lickitung counters, which are Buzzwole and Registeel. So I'm going to let him throw an attack, and then swap into Gator. I don't mind Gator too much into Charge Bug, like I said earlier, but I need to preserve my HP here. I'm not in X-Scissor range now, so that's nice. I'm gonna bring in Gator. He throws right before my Hydro Cannon. This could be a Power Whip, which I definitely want to shield. I'm gonna. In comes Charge Bug. There it is. Plan is working as planned. The last time we played, he didn't throw on CMP, so I'm not gonna do that here. I'm gonna predict him over farming, and he throws. I could have actually just thrown the Hydro Cannon there. Maybe got a shield advance or something, but no. Unfortunate. I'm gonna go for another Hydro Cannon here. And this is played terribly by me. Maybe I should just gone for it, but then he gets to X-Scissor, which is also awkward on my Gligar, right? He throws here, has to throw. Now I can farm this down with my Gligar. Let's see, a very nice farm. Now I come out with a full dig. If Lickitung comes in, I expect a 9-up in the back, and at that point, it's probably just over. I would get RPS anyway. Let's see. Lickitung does come in. Farm up a little bit. Throwing right before his body slam. I need this to knock out. Otherwise, he gets that body slam off. It knocks out. In the back is... It's Quack! It's Quack in the back. I'm fine. But what I should have done was swap immediately. Because he now needs... I believe... He can knock me out with 2 Akuto, I believe. And I believe he will knock me out on the Buzzwole before I get to my lunge. If I get to lunge, 2 Akuto won't knock out. And now it might. So... He's going to go for the Aqua here, and now I'm coming with Buzzwole, trying to punch down this Quack side before it gets to Aqua. But he's going to make an interesting play here. Much less resisted, though. That kind of helps in this matchup. He's going to go for the Stone Edge. I think 2 Aqua would have been enough, but no. He went for Stone Edge, doesn't knock out, and I win that battle. My final matchup is against the one and only Gnu. I'm not sure if I can pronounce it in an English way. He's a little bit newer to the PvP scene, and his team is quite prone to both Azumarill and Registeel. My man... If he knew how often I run Wigglytuff, I didn't bring it this time. But Azumarill's good against Dragonair, Gligar, Mandibuzz, Umbreon, Annihilate, and not into Lickitung. And then Regsteel's good into Dragonair, remember my Flash Cannon as well, into Lickitung, into Mandibuzz, pretty good into Umbreon, even without Focus Blast. So I'm always going to be running that core of 2. Let's see how this is going to go. I expect him to play ABA every single time, because it's just like impossible for him to construct a good team composition against me. I lead Registeel into Lickitung. Even if you think, oh, this is more manageable without Focus Blast. No, because the way to play this as Registeel is to go straight Zap Cannon. 2 Zap Cannon plus Lock-On will knock out Lickitung. Plus you have a chance to debuff their attack, making the matchup even better. You resist all their charge attacks. There are some attack-weighted Lickitung sets that can win the 2 shields, but you don't have to use any shields as Registeel. He tries to catch an attack, I think, goes into Mandibuzz. I'm not sure if I should have thrown his attack, honestly. Yeah, I need to keep the energy, but debuffing this will be nice. He shields that, though, which is great. Catching the Dark Pulse here on my Azumarill. And at this point, I'm just going to scroll a little bit ahead, because this might take a while. He's going to throw a lot of area ace. I'm going to throw the player off that's just going to do a good amount of damage on this Mandibuzz. I expect him to swap out at some point. It has to be some sort of ABB strategy against Azumarill, I would think. In the back is Dragonair, though. He swaps that in. If he swapped in Lickitung, he actually could have made this very annoying for me, because that Mandibuzz plus Lickitung could have been... or the Mandibuzz plus Dragonair could have been tough for my Gligar in the back. But he brings us in. Regular Dragonair doesn't have as much pressure as Shadow. But I think with the Dragon Breath's next Body Slam should knock out. I'm going to catch this attack, keep that attack stored on my Azumarill. I'm 1 bubble off, a player off, I believe. And this is resisted, so just 1 lock on down. Let's see what he brings in. All his Pokemon are not good into Registeel, by the way. So Registeel was a great call to bring in. He didn't bring the Gligar nor the Annihilate. I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon. It's 10 energy cheaper, so I wasn't sure if he was at a Body Slam or close to it, so I just threw it immediately. But because I don't get a debuff, he's also able to farm it down, unfortunately. Although, maybe I wouldn't have even gone there, because I wasn't exactly close to the attack either. I come in with the 2-shield Gligar. His Mandibuzz quite low, the Lickitung is quite low. I think I'm good here. He throws another attack. I now expect him to swap, so I'm looking at the top right of the corner to see their typing. I see the Dark flying, bring in my Azumarill immediately. I have the player off store that I earlier said I thought I was 1 ball off, but that's not true. Bring in the Azumarill. You can lick down, that's fine. I have an area stored, so I win game number 1. If I play someone who is newer to the scene, doesn't have a lot of show 6 experience, I tend to play my biggest core breaker as much as possible, right? This is a big difference, because if you play someone experienced, you could expect them to bring counters to that 1 core breaker. But because he might not be aware of my Registeel being so good, I was like, okay, he's probably going to run some sort of AB A-line to it, or like, as we saw, triple weak to it. In the next game, I expect him to play stronger with, like, Annihilate. But no, he leads Lickitung again. Terrible. Gonna swap in my Red Shield, try to bait out a potential Annihilate to free up my Buzzwole. I have played him last season as well a little bit, though, so I do know he likes Mandibuzz a lot, so I'm not super happy about this. He might be playing ABA to Red Shield again. Or it could be Gligar, and I'm still screwed. So, he no shields, that makes sense. Doesn't threaten just yet. Yes, throws Shadow Boy. Throws Ice Punch, though. And I saw him put his phone a little bit away. He thought maybe I was looking or something, but no, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna farm this down. Like, I just want to draw this out, right? So he shields that, I get a shield advantage. Gives me a lot of play if it's Mandibuzz in the back. Because one area won't knock me out, and if I can get counter damage and even an attack off into Lickitung, I might have a good player. Throw Shadow Ball, can take that. Now I'm going to farm down with Buzzwole. But he gets to an attack, and I make a misplay here. Because at this time, I was like, what if it's Dragonair in the back? Throws the Ice Punch, I shield it. But then I realized if it's Mandibuzz, and it likely is, there it is, the areas would have done so much more because that's double resisted. So, very unfortunate shield from my side that Ice Punch would have not done as much. The Snarl is resisted, so that just doesn't add up even remotely. I get a counter through, that's nice. Now I can throw another lunge to debuff this Mandibuzz even more, make sure that I live that areas. I need to retain as much HP as possible and get a charge stack off into that Lickitung. Let's see. Lunge, no shielded, interesting. I think now I might be able to counter down. But this is double super effective on a really fragile Pokemon. So let's see how much this is going to do. Puts me really low. Can I punch it down? He swaps into Lickitung. I'm gonna go for the lunge here, hoping that he shields, and then maybe I can do something with Azumarill. And he no shields! Man, if I threw Super Power here, this thing may have been, like, almost dead. Because that does so much damage on a Lickitung. I don't think I would be able to farm down though. And the odds of him shielding actually would have been much higher, I think. But look at this, yeah. I'm not sure if the difference would have been enough between Lunge and Super Power here. I'll let him get to the next Body Slam, even though it does knock out. It doesn't matter, I think. Yeah, if I threw Super Power, maybe I would have won that. Game number 3, I'm getting a little bit nervous because he did get that alignment the last battle. This time I'm bluffing he would lead Lickitung the 3rd time in a row, and he doesn't. Leads Umbreon, a tremendous lead, and swaps into Dragonair, which is still really good for Azumarill. So somehow he isn't prepared for Azumarill and Registeel at the same time again, which is really surprising. No Gligar again from him is interesting too. Gonna go for the play rough. Shadow Dragonair would knock out. Regular barely hangs on, but this is actually even worse for regular because I even bubble down. Might have to take one more Body Slam, which I can take. It hardly does anything. If this Lickitung in the back, I want to keep my Registeel for that. So that's why I'm staying into this. And if it's something else, I still have my Gligar for a lot of neutral play and Registeel for like a Mandibuzz. Which at this point I think it is Mandibuzz. I know he really likes it. So just gonna stay in this matchup still. Just gonna let him take me out. I'm gonna align my Registeel to be safe. It could also be Annihilate, and in that case I want my Gligar on his Annihilate. Let's see. Last resort, doesn't take me out still. I get to another player off. I'm waiting a turn. I'm playing sweaty here, right? I want to make sure I win this challenge at this point. I beat Statstan, really good opponent. Tiro, really good opponent. And while I don't underestimate Gnu, I don't want to lose here, right? So let's see. He's a shield down. Registeel has a great matchup here. Takes these foul plays like a champ. I can knock this out with one Flash Cannon. Let's see what comes in here. And he actually did bring the Gligar at this point. The game stutters a little bit, so he gets a Wing Attack through. This Flash Cannon does good, very good neutral damage. Now I can go into Gligar, and Gligar will clean up his Gligar. At this point, I'm just going to double shield farm down. The areas do more than foul play, so that's why I double shield these. And then I have to dig for his Umbreon, which is tremendous. So looks pretty unlosable at this point. Registeel is also still extremely healthy. The game is going to stutter again a little bit. I should see, maybe the tap didn't register correctly, or I didn't tap correctly. I tried doing a Wing Attack and then my dig, but I threw an alignment apparently. Go for another one. It doesn't really matter at this point anyway. He doesn't have to foul play yet. Foul play wasn't lethal at this point for Gligar. Dig knocks it out, and I win the challenge. That concludes this video and this challenge. I'm now at 77 points. I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next one. Bye.